Hi, I'm Michelle Stirling for Friends of Science Society. National Academies of Sciences should speak out against climate alarmism, not support it. A message from Professor Guus Berkhout, President of CLINTEL and member of the Netherlands Academy of Arts and Sciences. The integrity of science is at stake. Viewers, you should note it is a historical moment in the governance of science that a member of a National Academy of Sciences openly criticizes the almighty national and umbrella organizations, calling them out for serious negligence on a most important scientific issue. On June 11, 2020, Professor Guus Berkhout sent an open letter to the President of the Royal Netherlands Academy of Arts and Sciences and two other critical scientific organizations. Already years ago, academies of sciences around the world should have stated loud and clear that the scientific fundament of the Paris Agreement, that the science is settled, and the computer-modeled catastrophes in the IPCC's projected futures are not supported by the academies. Unfortunately, they did not. Many of them even gave their support. This letter expresses concern that academic freedom has largely disappeared in climate science. Professor Berkhout's letter is based on CLINTEL's Scientific Manifesto, Audiator et Altera Pars. Let both sides be heard. One of the two fundamental principles of natural justice recognized by the law of civilized nations. The manifesto comprises of 10 propositions governing independent scientific research. All scientific research ought to comply with these propositions. Bad scientific practice inevitably leads to bad scientific results. So let's look at a few of the propositions. Number 1, the complexity of multi-factor, multi-scale systems demands close cooperation between a wide range of scientific fields and disciplines, such as astronomy, geology, archaeology, meteorology, oceanography, and biology. These are indispensable to a full understanding of the complex causal relationships that underlie climate change. This is hardly the case in today's mainstream research. You, the general public, may not know it, but for 30 years, the IPCC, the global climate body, has falsely predicted alarming high temperatures in its reports. Considering this failure, why does it still continue to publish its speculative long-term climate predictions? These false, catastrophic claims, especially those based on the extremely unlikely RCP 8.5 scenario, have sparked fear and unrest worldwide. These failed prophecies are what your government is using to establish climate policy, like carbon taxes and climate risk laws. Number 2, sound scientific research is open-minded and characterized by a wide variety of viewpoints without dogmas and prejudices. Well, that's how it should be, but in reality, curiosity and diversity are being suppressed, and the anthropogenic global warming, AGW dogma, is ruthlessly enforced. Think of the IPCC's extreme scenario RCP 8.5 being widely presented in the literature as business as usual. Number 3, faith in scientific models is faith in underlying assumptions. Only correct assumptions lead to correct answers. What computer models tell us depends entirely on what model makers have input into them. Unfortunately, mainstream climatologists seldom discuss these choices in their complex climate models. So, just based on these 3 principles, you can see why Professor Berkhout wrote, "Why do scientific institutions not warn society that all these climate change doom and gloom scenarios have little or no scientific justification?" I know that there are many scientists around the world who doubt or disagree with the IPCC's claims. I also know from my own experience, Dr. Berkhout says, and from correspondence with colleagues, that there's much pressure on researchers to conform to what we are told is the climate consensus. But the history of science shows time and again that new insights do not come from followers, but from critical thinkers. For valid new insights, measurements trump models. Let's look at point 7. Separation of science and politics is a great good. Academies of Sciences should protect scientists from political ideologies. When political ideologies guard consensus, critical scientists are sidelined, excluded from the scientific discourse, or even dismissed. Number 8, Academies of Sciences have a moral responsibility to warn society of senseless conclusions that follow from naive belief in scientific models. A typical example of climate stupidity is spending billions of dollars in dirty wood-fired power stations. For this green solution, forests with unique ecosystems are being completely destroyed. And number 10, the science is settled, is a consensus statement that will never be used by scientists of integrity. Such a statement is not naive or arrogant, it's stupid. Particularly in climate research, the science is far from settled. To simplify climate change by a single factor theory, anthropogenic global warming theory, is a shame to Western science. The 10 propositions govern sound and independent scientific research. If mainstream climate scientists would have followed the 10 propositions, then the chaos in climate science would never have happened. People would not be living in fear of an existential demise, because that's not what the science shows us. Without the fear-mongering and public hysteria, we would have implemented thoughtful, affordable energy policies instead of enriching green crony climateers. Had these principles been followed, the IPCC might have become a beacon of scientific integrity instead of an organization that acts like a delinquent teenager, infiltrated by activists from Greenpeace and World Wide Fund, as author Donna Laframboise discovered. Please share this information with your elected officials, policymakers, and citizens groups. Climate catastrophe claims are based on faulty computer simulations. Bear in mind that immature climate models must never be the basis of any energy policy. It will make all of us poor and bring the elite of beneficiaries in power. So, is climate policy a new form of Marxism? Think about it. For Friends of Science Society, I'm Michelle Stirling.